Hello and welcome back to another Reality Check VR video. Right now we're actually doing an unboxing of some cell phones. Yeah, never done that before, but here you can hear the printer going on in the background there. Fun stuff, fun stuff. And of course. Okay, so my phone broke and I need to get a new one because I can't really handle the broken screen and swiping your finger on that. I do want to get one of the really nice Samsung phones in the future, but that's not going to be for a few months. So in the meantime, I've got some cheaper phones that I can actually just make do with. Plus, of course, my wife had an old phone, so we're both gonna just get a cheap phone, and I want to review those right now. Let's check them out. Lenovo ZUK. That's right. Lenovo ZUK. And take care of that later.
Hey, Casper.
Okay, so here we are, and I'm just going to check out the phones real quick. I want to look them up on the computer so you guys can check them out as well. Ooh. So as I've shown it many times, yes, I did break my Note 5, and I really wanted to get one of those Note 7s to use with the new Gear VRs, right? You know, the Note 7s, these things, right? Good old Samsung Note 7. But as you can see, you know, it's a discontinued product. Discontinued because, you know, they kept blowing up, exploding in people's faces. They eventually are going to release a Note 8, which will, you know, fix all those problems, be much better. But in the meantime, I needed a cell phone, so... Okay, well, I can't buy a Note 7, and the Note 8 isn't going to be available until the second half of this year, so I need to get a replacement phone to use in spite of this phone not working properly. So I guess the one solution that I came up with was I'll buy a cheap phone, right? And so I started looking for cheap phones. My wife also needed a new phone. The last phone that she got was an Apple, an iPhone 4. There we go. She got the iPhone 4, and that thing is just, it's old as of now. Its screen is super small. It's not very powerful, especially if you compare it to the Androids that are coming out. So I went and took a look at some of the cheap Chinese Android phones that were available, because I know one thing about Chinese stuff. I've been buying a lot of different products from China lately, and one thing I can tell you guys for sure is that I've noticed some products aren't exactly what you want. Especially when you see HD camera, it doesn't always mean that. Sometimes it does. At the same time, a lot of companies in China actually create the products that we're currently purchasing from other stores for large amounts of money. And now we can buy them directly from these companies for a lot cheaper. So one example I want to give for that is like, here we go, real quick. So this drone right here, you know, I picked this thing up for $35. I got it for $35, and I actually got it off of Amazon, but it's a Chinese brand drone. And they have a lot of these drones for $35, $40, $50. And when you go to the stores here in America, every single time I find these things in the stores here in America, they're $120, $150, and you can bet that they're exactly the same thing because I've checked them out, but the difference is that money is going to the store, of course, as opposed to just you saving the money getting it direct from China. Why not just get it from one of the distributors? So there's a lot of distributors out there. I've been getting mine mainly from GearBest lately, just them, as also I've also been doing a few other websites, but this one right here, I went for my wife. She wanted to get the S7 Edge, and although I really wanted to buy one of those for her, they're very, very, very expensive, especially if you buy them without a plan. And we already have SIM cards. We use the UltraMobile plans, so that's just that you can get plans really, really cheap with that, or you can get normal plan. Anyway, that's what we use. So, plus it gives unlimited international text and call because we have family that's overseas. Half of my family is in Russia, so having a phone that can do international calls and texts is great. So we like our UltraMobile plan. We don't want to switch that at all. And basically the best solution that we found is going over to something like, this one right here is actually the Elephone S7. It's kind of like the exact same thing as your Samsung S7. It's got your 2 GHz, 4 GB RAM, 64 GB ROM, 5.5-inch screen, It's not exactly the same specs, but a lot of the hardware on there, you'd be surprised, is exactly the same hardware that you're finding in a lot of these other editions. The difference is, of course, it doesn't have the exact same Samsung display that you're going to be getting with an actual Samsung phone. It has a different display, it's proprietary, as well as it's just got a different resolution. It's not as high resolution as you would be getting if you got an actual Samsung S7. Regardless of those features, the actual specs on the phone is very nice and it looks very good. And for something that I can get for less than $300 to replace something that, like an old iPhone 4, this thing is outstanding, and it outperforms the iPhone 4, 5 to 1, 10 to 1. I'm not really sure the exact specs of the iPhone 4. All I know is it's not nearly as good as this Android phone is right here. So I just wanted to run through and show these specs off real quick, just because I'm going to show you guys the real phone right here as well. The reason I want to make these videos mainly is because I think that people need to have options available to them. I think a lot of people get stuck into these, just an iPhone or a Samsung, and that's it. And you know what? A lot of these phones and these companies are being made in China. They're being made in other countries, and these other countries are making other phones that are cheaper and better because the people over there obviously are using these other brands. So I think we need to be aware of it, especially when they work for, some of these phones do work on our systems. So of course I'm going to test all that stuff and make sure it works just fine. But I have heard from other people that they can get these things working just fine. So anyway, the other phone that I want and got for myself, just for the time being, up until I want to get, because I'm going to save up for a Note 8. But for the time being, I've got the Lenovo ZUK Z2 64GB ROM 4G smartphone. This one, of course, has 4GB RAM, 64 quad core, 2.1 gigahertz, 13 megapixel camera. It's it's got all the stuff that you want to have, and I got this one for less than $200 right here. Less than $200 is not a bad price for a new cell phone. So I just wanted to run through right here. It does work on American network, as well as it does have the newest Android availability for you. Also, it's got basic 1080 screen, nothing super special there, but here's what it is. It's a simple phone. I want a simple phone with a good battery, and that's what this thing is. I've heard a lot of different people talking about it. It's got great performance, it plays your games just fine. But what I think the most special thing about it is it's just a nice, simple, clear-cut phone that works well, nice compact form, and does its job. So I'm going to go ahead and just finish scrolling through this little bit of the phone right there, and then we're going to go ahead and take a look at that phone as well. So if you've been wondering what that noise is the whole time, I apologize, but I'll show you that noise. That's right. We're making some more skeleton touch holders. Skeleton touch holders on the way. Actually, I needed an upgraded pair for my wall over here. Alright, so right over here is where I'm going to be putting the skeleton pair. I'm going to make sure I can actually use them to pull the controllers on and off. Down here we have, of course, the Xbox controller holder and another kind of touch holder. This one I got off of Thingiverse. Somebody else designed this one, which is pretty cool. Of course, up here we've got the Rift playing on this Rift clip right here. This is kind of the opposite of a design that somebody else had. I decided, why not put the clip underneath it and put the support underneath it. That way you don't see anything from above. And I think that's just a little bit cool. So anyway, I'm going to be working on these designs and refining them a little bit as time goes by. But back to what we were talking about, cell phones. This is the S7, right? The Elephone S7, that is, with the curved screen display. Both of these phones have double SIM card slots. Okay, this is hilarious. It comes with exploded proof film. Exploded proof film, that's right. This phone is exploded proof. That's right. Don't worry. Okay, and what I plan on doing with that one is I plan on testing it out here for at least a week and just getting my wife to play all kinds of games, test it out on the network, and to see how it works, and then I'll go ahead and do an update video letting you know how everything works. But I can tell you right now, it looks and feels like a great cell phone. Like nothing that you would not get if you bought a cell phone from anywhere here. So that's good information. Lastly, we have the ZUK. The one thing I noticed right off the bat with the ZUK is it does use a different kind of a cable. It's not the same kind of a cable that you're used to using with most cell phones. So, okay, remember how I told you? Just a very simple phone right there. Remember I told you I wanted just a simple phone. That's a simple phone. That's a simple phone right there. Aha. Oh, Casper. So I've got two cool phones, and I'm going to test them out, and I'll get back to you and let you know how they fare. But I can tell you right now, I'm fairly certain they're going to both be great phones. From what I've read as reviews go, these things have great reviews, and they work well. They're not nearly as expensive as they would be if you were buying some of the other brands that have very similar hardware capabilities. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little video, and hopefully it spikes your interest. But like I said, I will do another video giving you an update showing you kind of how these phones work out. So see you guys in the next one. Later.